While I was watching YouTube, I was surprised and saddened when I saw this video about one of my favorite singers, Meat Loaf. Meat Loaf was born Marvin Lee Aday on September 27, 1947 in Dallas, Texas. Meat Loaf stated in an interview that when he was born he was bright red and stayed that way for days, and that his father said he looked like 9 pounds of ground chuck and convinced hospital staff to put the name Meat on his crib. He was later called ML in reference to his initials, but when his weight increased, his 7th grade classmates referred to him as Meatloaf, as he was 5 foot 2 inches, 240 pounds. He also attributed the nickname to an incident with a football coach.
First thing out of the coach's mouth was, "You meatloaf son of a gun." And that's where his name evolved.
In 1965, Meatloaf graduated from Thomas Jefferson High School, and in 1967, Meatloaf left Texas and college for a new life in Los Angeles, where he found work as a bouncer and started his first band, Meatloaf Soul. The band had several lineup changes and band name changes and eventually split up. Meatloaf then joined the Los Angeles production of the musical Hair. In 1971, through an invitation from Motown, Meatloaf teamed up with Stoney or Sean Murphy in the album titled Stoney and Meatloaf. In September of 1971, the single What You See Is What You Get reached number 36 on the best-selling soul singles chart and number 71 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart. In 1984, Meatloaf legally changed his first name from Marvin to Michael because he was haunted by a Levi Strauss and Company commercial that said, "Poor fat Marvin can't wear Levi's." Meatloaf had 3 sensational albums which has sold a total of more than 65 million copies. His first album, Bat Out of Hell from 1977, is the 4th best-selling album of all time, with more than 44 million copies sold. In 1993, he released Bat Out of Hell 2, Back into Hell. From this album came the number 1 hit, I'd Do Anything for Love, But I Won't Do That. In 2006 came Bat Out of Hell 3, The Monster Is Loose. This one featured another personal favorite of mine, his version of It's All Coming Back to Me Now, in a duet with Marion Raven. It's All Coming Back to Me Now is a power ballad written by Jim Steinman. According to Steinman, the song was an attempt to write the most passionate romantic song he could ever create. The Sunday Times Post said that Steinman protects his song as if they were his children. Meatloaf had wanted to record the song for years, but Steinman saw it as a woman's song. Steinman won a court movement preventing Meatloaf from recording it. Girls group Pandora's Box went on to record it, and it was subsequently made famous through a cover by Celine Dion. This upset Meatloaf because he was going to use it for a planned album with a working title Bat Out of Hell 3, which he eventually got to record. Speaking of Jim Steinman, according to Meatloaf in 1982 or 83, Steinman had given the songs Total Eclipse of the Heart and Making Love Out of Nothing at All to Meatloaf for his second album. However, Meatloaf's current recording company did not want Meatloaf to sing Steinman's songs, saying that nobody wanted to hear them. Bonnie Tyler's version of Total Eclipse and Air Supply's version of Making Love topped the charts together, holding number 1 and number 2 for a period during 1983. I still wonder how those songs would have sounded if Meatloaf got to record them. In 2003, Meatloaf suffered a health scare when he collapsed on stage in London. Doctors later diagnosed him with Wolff-Parkinson-White syndrome, which causes an irregular heartbeat. In June 2016, Meatloaf experienced another collapse on stage, this time during a concert in Edmonton, Canada. According to his spokesman, Meatloaf had collapsed due to dehydration. In January 2020, during an interview for The Mirror, Meatloaf announced, "I'm not old, I've got songs for another record, and I'm reading a script." In a February 2020 Facebook post, Meatloaf announced his intention to record a new album containing 5 of 4 new tracks, including Steinman's What Part of My Body Hurts the Most, a song long requested by fans but previously under contract restrictions for the Bat Out of Hell musical, along with the original 1975 demo recordings made for the Bat Out of Hell album. However, Jim Steinman died on April 19, 2021 of kidney failure. In another Facebook post in November 2021, Meat Loaf further elaborated that he and his band would be returning to the studio in January 2022 to record 7 new songs for a forthcoming album, which would also include live tracks from the 70s, 80s, 90s, and 2000s. On the evening of January 20, 2022, Meat Loaf died in Nashville, Tennessee.
This made me sad this morning. Grammy Award-winning singer Meat Loaf has died.
People woke up to the news today that singer Meat Loaf has died.
Meat Loaf died with no official cause of death released at that time. Meat Loaf was reportedly ill with COVID-19 and died from COVID-19 complications. After his health had rapidly declined, his 2 daughters rushed to see him in the hospital, with his wife being beside him as he died. Meat Loaf, big man, big songs, big voice, big heart. Meat Loaf, rest in peace.